Imagine sitting down for lunch today. You open your bag, and inside is a turkey sandwich on whole wheat bread, a small apple, and exactly 5 baby carrots. Now, imagine this was your lunch yesterday. And the day before. Now, imagine this has been your lunch every single day for the last 22 years. To most of us, this sounds like a specialized form of purgatory, a sensory prison where flavor goes to die. But for a specific group of people, this isn't a lack of imagination, it's a strategic psychological fortress. This is the world of the same mealer. While the rest of us are paralyzed by the paradox of choice, scrolling through delivery apps for 40 minutes only to end up disappointed, these individuals have eliminated a massive variable from their lives. They have reached a state of dietary automation that borders on the monastic. Today, on Thinking 2.0, we're dissecting the cognitive architecture of repetition. Is eating the same meal a sign of a highly optimized mind, a coping mechanism for underlying anxiety, or a biological quirk that shields the brain from the exhaustion of the modern world? The first and perhaps most powerful psychological driver behind this behavior is the concept of decision fatigue. Every single day, the human brain has a finite amount of cognitive fuel located in the prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your head. Every choice you make, from which email to answer first to which socks to wear, drains a few drops of that fuel. By the time 12:30 p.m. rolls around, many of us are already running on fumes. For the same mealer, food is not an opportunity for creative expression, it is a low-value decision. By automating their intake, they are essentially practicing a form of cognitive hedging. They are trading the fleeting joy of a diverse menu for the sustained power of a focused mind. This is the same logic used by figures like Steve Jobs with his black turtlenecks or Mark Zuckerberg with his gray t-shirts. They aren't boring, they are just brutally efficient with their bandwidth. They've realized that the energy spent deciding between Mexican or Italian is energy they can't use to solve complex problems later in the afternoon. In a world that is constantly screaming for our attention, the tuna sandwich is a quiet, reliable ally in the fight for focus. However, beneath the surface of efficiency often lies a deeper layer, the management of anxiety. For individuals with high levels of trait anxiety, or those on the neurodivergent spectrum, the world is a chaotic, unpredictable, and often overstimulating place. For these people, the real self we talked about in previous episodes is constantly being bombarded by sensory data it can't quite filter. In this context, food becomes one of the few variables they can actually control. Total predictability in a meal provides a sensory safety signal. When you eat the exact same bowl of oatmeal every morning, you eliminate the risk of sensory betrayal, that unexpected bit of gristle in a steak, the too sour lemon in a new dressing, or the overwhelming spice of an experimental curry. For a same mealer, the meal isn't just fuel, it's an anchor. It's a reliable, rhythmic beat in the dissonant soundtrack of their day. It tells the nervous system, everything is exactly as it was yesterday. You are safe. You can relax. This isn't a lack of taste, it's a sophisticated method of downregulating a hyperactive amygdala. To understand why some people can do this while others burn out on a food in 3 days, we have to look at a neurological phenomenon called sensory-specific satiety. In most people, the brain is wired to crave variety as a survival mechanism. When you eat a potato, the reward you get from the first bite is high, but by the 10th bite, your brain has habituated to that specific flavor and texture, and the reward drops. This is nature's way of forcing you to seek out different nutrients so you don't end up with scurvy. However, research suggests that some individuals have a much higher boredom threshold. Their brains do not devalue the reward of a repeated stimulus as quickly as others. For them, the 500th turkey sandwich provides almost the same level of satisfaction as the first. This might be linked to the reward circuitry in the basal ganglia, the part of the brain that governs habits. For the same mealer, the ritual of the meal provides a dopaminergic hit that is more about the completion of the habit than the novelty of the taste. They aren't missing out on pleasure, they are simply deriving pleasure from a different source, the comfort of the known. There is also an evolutionary echo in this behavior that harks back to our days as hunter-gatherers. In the wild, new often meant dangerous. A new berry could be poisonous, a new meat could be tainted. Our ancestors survived by identifying safe foods and sticking to them with religious fervor. While the modern world celebrates the foodie, someone who constantly seeks out the exotic and the unknown, the same mealer is actually operating on a very ancient, very successful survival script. They have identified their safe harbor, and their biology rewards them for staying within it. This is particularly evident in children, who often go through food jags where they only eat one thing. Most people grow out of it, but for some, that biological preference for the tested and true remains the dominant operating principle into adulthood. They aren't being picky, they are being protective. But we have to talk about the dark side. When does a healthy habit cross the line into orthorexia or an eating disorder? For some, the need to eat the same meal isn't a choice, it's a compulsion born of a fear of contamination or an obsessive need for nutritional perfection. When the ritual of the meal becomes a requirement for mental stability, the meal is no longer serving the person is serving the meal. If the same mealer experiences genuine panic or a total inability to function because their specific brand of yogurt is out of stock, they have moved from optimization into rigidity. On Thinking 2.0, we always emphasize that a tool is only useful as long as you can put it down. The goal of the repetitive meal should be to free your mind, not to lock it in a different kind of cage. True mastery is having the tuna sandwich because it's easy, but being able to eat the tacos because life happens. Interestingly, the rise of the same meal culture is being accelerated by the optimization movement in tech hubs like Silicon Valley. We see the rise of meal replacements like Soylent or Huel, which take the concept of the same meal to its logical, liquid conclusion. These products treat the human body like a machine that just needs the right ratio of chemical inputs, carbs, fats, proteins, to function. This mechanical view of eating removes the social, cultural, and emotional layers of food entirely. It turns the kitchen into a laboratory and the dinner table into a charging station. For the optimizer, the same meal is the ultimate hack, it's the final victory of the ideal self, the productive, logical machine, over the real self, the emotional, sensory-seeking human. They have successfully turned one of the most complex human experiences into a simple line of code. Yet, even for the most hardened optimizer, food remains a social currency. We eat together to form bonds, to celebrate, and to mourn. The person who brings their own pre-measured container of steamed broccoli to a wedding or a funeral is signaling something profound, that their internal ritual is more important than the collective experience. This creates a fascinating social friction. We often view people who eat the same thing as eccentric or antisocial because they refuse to participate in the shared sensory exploration of a meal. They are, in a way, opting out of a fundamental human conversation. Their same meal is a wall, a protective barrier that says, my internal world is self-contained. I do not need the external stimulation that you do. So, where do you fall on the spectrum? Are you a novelty seeker, constantly chasing the next flavor profile to keep your brain from shutting down in boredom? Or are you a same mealer, finding a quiet, powerful freedom in the repetition of a single, perfect bowl of rice? As we always say here at Thinking 2.0, the key is meta-awareness. If you eat the same thing, know why you are doing it. Is it to save your brain for bigger things? Is it to calm a nervous system that feels like it's on fire? Or is it just a habit you've never bothered to question? Your relationship with your plate is a direct reflection of your relationship with your mind. Protect your bandwidth, respect your need for safety, but don't forget that sometimes, the most optimal thing you can do is to let go of the ritual and just taste something new. If this breakdown of the repetitive mind resonated with you, or if you're watching this while eating that same sandwich for the 10th year in a row, subscribe to Thinking 2.0. We're here to peel back the layers of the normal and see what's actually driving the machine. Leave a comment below, what is your same meal, and what does it do for your brain? Let's talk about the ritual of the daily bite. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.